Hey, it's Zane here and welcome back. Hope you've had a great day. I want to thank you for tuning in again. And please remember to give the video a like to help push it out through YouTube land so that we can get more people tuned in about the benefits of Bitcoin and how it can make your life better. So today I want to talk about why Bitcoin is a game of preservation right now. And this morning I was tuned into an interview with Peter Dunworth. He's an Australian financial planner, works with a lot of high net worth individuals in Sydney. And he's pretty much gone all into Bitcoin now as far as coaching and educating people, advising high net worth individuals on onboarding, portions of their wealth into Bitcoin. And he's very open about the fact that he's actually recently sold his family home to go all in on Bitcoin as well. And so Peter offers a unique perspective because he comes from a traditional finance environment and he has a very clear understanding of all of the levers that are being manipulated and pulled right now when it comes to the macroeconomic environment. And Peter was on the Bitcoin with Bram show, which you can look up on YouTube. And it was just fascinating to listen to Peter and his perspective on where Bitcoin is going. And it really got me thinking, Peter is in the camp that Bitcoin is going to 100x within the next 10 years because of all the tailwinds that are behind this asset class now that we have essentially the US government endorsing it. We have other nation states now buying Bitcoin, accumulating it, kind of under the radar right now. We have institutions and Wall Street on board. And so all of these represent significant tailwinds when you consider that Bitcoin is a scarce, fixed supply, finite monetary instrument. And we have to keep remembering that. The reason why Bitcoin is such a potent investment opportunity is because it is absolutely scarce. And so Peter was really harping on this during the podcast with Bram, and he firmly believes that we're going to see significant shifts in Bitcoin's value proposition over the medium to long term, certainly within the next few years and in the next 5 to 10 years. And so, if these kind of perspectives, if they actually come to fruition, essentially what we're talking about is for every $10,000 that we invest in Bitcoin today, if we get to 100x because we have a supply crunch, then we know that 10 grand today is going to be $1 million inside 10 years. And I'm not sure that there's any other investment on earth, certainly when you consider the adoption phase where we're in on the adoption cycle, and we know that CBDCs are coming. They're trying to centralize currencies in Europe and in other parts of the world. And so when you consider all of these factors in the macroeconomic landscape and in the geopolitical landscape that we're in, which is very unstable, very uncertain, we can only come to the conclusion that Bitcoin is all about staking your claim, about positioning yourself, about acquisition, preparing for the future, and it's about preservation. And most people aren't even aware of what Bitcoin represents yet. They still think that it's like a stock or a share, which is something that you don't really truly own. You only have a paper claim on that share. You have to buy it through an intermediary. Whereas Bitcoin, it is something that you absolutely own. When you own Bitcoin and you take self-custody of it, like I explained in yesterday's video, you are several steps down the line when it comes to creating financial sovereignty in your life, because it is the separation of money from state. It is the opportunity for you to be the absolute guardian of your wealth, of your money. And so when we're in an unstable environment, when the macroeconomic situation is shifting fast the way that it is, when we can see all of the red flags and the wall starting to close in when it comes to the central bank and government policies. They're giving more handouts now, spending programs, trying to incentivize people to vote for them by offering tax cuts. But nobody asks where this money's coming from. But you and I know where it's coming from. It's coming from inflation, which they're creating through currency debasement. And so it's okay for them to go and buy votes, but those of us who understand what's going on and we're awake to what is happening and very conscious of how these spending programs are created, we understand where all of this leads. And so, it's unfortunate to me that so many people are blind to what's going on right now, but for me, there's just red flags everywhere that suggest that, this life raft that is Bitcoin is one that we need to get on, and we need to, wake as many people up as we can who we care about and love. And we need to really encourage them to get on this life raft with us, because this ship is sinking. And, what we know is, and Peter was talking about this morning, the first major defining moment in Bitcoin history was when the ETF was approved last January. And Michael Saylor refers to this as the beginning of the Bitcoin gold rush. And he dubbed it a 5-year gold rush that is going to, began in January 2024 when the ETF was approved by the SEC in America, the Securities and Exchange Commission. And so now that is in place, and we have BlackRock and other institutions, other financial players now hoarding Bitcoin, the next big event was the US government announcing the strategic Bitcoin reserve. And somehow they want to acquire, in a tax neutral fashion, they want to be able to acquire up to 1 million Bitcoin over the next 5 years. Nobody quite knows how they're going to do that. There is some talk that they're going to do it through selling down some of their gold reserves. And of course, there is a school of thought that if they do this, this is going to be an attack on the BRICS nations, who are very rich in gold. And, they've threatened to basically leave the US dollar, and some of them have already done that. And so, it remains to be seen how all of this is going to play out. But one thing I do know is that Bitcoin doesn't care. Bitcoin is going to continue to produce block after block every 10 minutes. And it was made for this. It was made for uncertainty. It was made for conflict. It was made for geopolitical unrest. It was made for this. Bitcoin was born in an immaculate conception out of a time of turmoil, the GFC. And so Satoshi knew when he released Bitcoin to the world that it was there for a purpose. And so when Bitcoin was released through the Bitcoin white paper in October 2008, and then the first Genesis block was mined in January 2009, that wasn't by accident. And so we have to keep getting back to that. And thankfully, Satoshi, he understood, and I think Hal Finney was another one who was there in the very early days, and there were apparently discussions in private forums. I have never seen those, but I'm told that this is stuff that took place. They knew that the most important things for Bitcoin were going to be decentralization and security. And so everything about Bitcoin that makes it so powerful in this changing landscape that we're in really is a focus on decentralization and security against the backdrop of a world that is becoming more and more centralized. And all of these problems that we're seeing in society that are the function and the result of everything that we've seen since 2008, rising inflation, a growing wealth gap, a housing crisis, the price of homes is just out of control now. How on earth can you build a future for yourself and your family if you can't put a roof over your head. Some of the rents here on the Gold Coast, they're among the highest in the country right now. In fact, I saw some stats just a couple of days ago. People are spending up to 54% of their weekly income just to cover rent. So it's no wonder there's 5 and 6 people living in a single townhouse here on the Gold Coast. And so this is a problem, and it's a problem all around the country. It's a problem in the US, Canada, other countries as well. So this is not an isolated problem. This is a global problem. And so when we talk about the debt-based system and the sinking financial Titanic, it's not isolated to one particular area of the globe or one particular country. It is a global problem in the same way that COVID, the pandemic, was a global problem. It was a global phenomenon. And so, but out of that, we've seen all of these issues become even more prevalent, even more escalated. And you know, this is where now you and I have to be really, really dialed into what's going on and paying attention and thinking of ways that we can accumulate as much BTC as we possibly can, acquiring Satoshis like we're crazy people as much as we can, and securing that Bitcoin, because we're entering a phase of a lot of uncertainty and a lot of instability. And this is why I say that Bitcoin is a game of preservation. It's built for uncertainty. It's built for upheaval. And this is the time that we're in right now. And I don't want to sound sort of doom and gloom. There's a lot to be thankful for. There's a lot to be happy about. But we've also got to be real. We've got to understand that Bitcoin came on the back of a crisis, and this crisis has gotten worse. We're in a worse position now globally in terms of the debt, in terms of all of the fractures that we see in the financial system. We're in a far worse position today than we were in 2008. And this is why people like Raoul Pal say often that the system died in 2008 and it's been on life support ever since. And they will never allow inflation to subside. They will never allow the system to recorrect. They will never allow the two bigs to actually fail. They will always choose to bail them out. They will always choose to allow the population to pay the price for this reckless financial management that is going on. And so Bitcoin is the antithesis. Bitcoin is the solution. And the more we can realize that and tune into the true properties of Bitcoin and what it represents, the better off our future is going to be. But we have to stay in for the long haul. We have to, get our house in order. We have to buckle down. We have to weather the storm. We have to deal with volatility. We have to deal with all of the noise, and we just have to keep focused on what we're here to do, what we're here to represent. And we have to understand that it's not an easy road. It's going to take time, but we are going to get there, and life is going to brighten up for those of us who had the foresight to see the impact that Bitcoin could have, not just on our lives, but on those around us and on the community at large as well, because there's going to be many, many spin-off effects as Bitcoin starts to reprice the entire financial system, and as governments around the world start to wake up, start to adopt it. We're going to start to have options as citizens as to where we choose to dedicate our lives in terms of which jurisdiction we want to be in. A lot of people, they feel like just because they're born in a country that they are confined by the rules of that country forever. But this is why we have companies cropping up now who are helping people to look for better options, to go where they're treated better, to set up Plan B residencies, to think about whether or not they want to be trapped in a sinking system and confined to the rules of the country that they were born in, even if they don't suit their life and what they believe in. And so Bitcoin is built for all of this. It's a game of preservation. We have to remember why we're here. And we have to do all of the steps, not just one step. Like I said yesterday, there are 3 key steps to being a successful Bitcoiner. And we have to remember that it's not just about buying a little bit of Bitcoin or a few Satoshis and leaving it on an exchange and then just getting on with life. It's about educating. It's about opening your mind to what this is about, to being aware of what's happening in the world, to securing your Bitcoin so that you have absolute ownership of it, that it can't be taken away from you, and then preparing for the future and continuing to add to your stack. So I wanted to just kind of share that message off the cuff today. I hope you got some value from it. I hope you got some insight. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think about where we are now and where we're going? Do you think that Bitcoin is going to reshape the financial system? How do you think things are going to play out? I mean, for me, I love tuning into some of these really intelligent people who have a background in finance, who can really see what's happening in the global financial landscape, because it gives me a lot to work with. I learn a lot from these guys, and so I'm going to continue my learning. Hope you are too. I want to thank you for being here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please remember to like, share and subscribe if you haven't already. And thanks for being a part of the community. Look forward to seeing you in the next one. This is Zane signing out. Have a great day. Bye for now.